Hey, what's up Chemical Guys family, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're showing you guys how to clean perforated leather. So to kick off this process, safety first. So we're gonna go ahead and grab some gloves because the last thing that we wanna do is touch all the nasty kinds of body oils and grime that accumulates on the leather. So whenever you're working on other people's vehicle or your own and it's that dirty, take two. So, as I was saying, whenever you're working on your own vehicle or other people's vehicles and the leather's that dirty, oh, look at that, didn't rip this time. You want to make sure that you're using safety equipment, so whether that be goggles, gloves, a mask, whatever you need. In this case, we're just going to go with some good old rubber gloves. Gloves, all right. So now it's time to assess the leather. So as you guys can see, this leather is not in the worst of shape. Really, all it needs is a nice deep clean, a nice coat of conditioner, and there are some tips and tricks when it comes to perforations that you want to keep in mind, and I'll share a little bit more about what that means in just a few seconds. But the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the vacuum because we want to clean the leather first from all the heavy debris within the cracks and crevices. So I don't know what's going on with this vacuum. Whoa! All right. So now that we have our vacuum nice and set, before we actually start vacuuming, another quick tip that I want to give you guys is come prepared with the right tools. In this case, we wanted to show you guys that you can actually remove the debris that's lodged within the perforations of the leather. However, I didn't have a proper tool for that, so I'm showing you guys the next best thing, a tooth floss stick, thingy-majiggy. I don't know what these are called, dental floss picks? Whatever they're called. But basically, I'm using this because it has a sharp end, which is going to allow us to just kind of dig up any kind of debris that's lodged within those perforations, to pick it up. And really, I'm not looking for perfection here in terms of like, you know, perfectly extracting it from the perforation. Really what we're looking for is just to kind of knock loose that debris that's in there and have the vacuum with us right next to it. That way it could just suck it up. So we're going to go ahead and remove all the lodged debris that's within the perforations. And we're also going to vacuum the cracks and crevices so that we can start off with the clean. All right guys, so we just finished vacuuming the leather. Now one thing I did want to point out that I did forget to mention is don't be afraid to spread the crack. Now what I mean by that is spread the leather open within the cracks and crevices, that way you can get all that stuff out, because I don't know if you guys were able to see, but there was a lot of fine sand and debris caught in there, and we were actually able to easily just vacuum it out just by spreading the crack. Spread the crack. Now we can go ahead and proceed with cleaning the leather. So now that we have our leather basically cleaned from the heavier debris, now we can actually start the cleaning process. So to do that, we actually have our leather cleaner, which is a OEM approved cleaner that's going to work out great on all types of leather, whether you have vegan leather, genuine leather, faux leather, and more. This is going to work out great, especially when you pair it with our horsehair bristle brush. Now the key to cleaning perforated leather, as opposed to just me just spraying all over the surface and being all crazy, we're going to be in control of our product and our spray. So what I mean by that is, instead of spraying all crazy, we're going to spray directly into the brush. And then we're going to start agitating the surface. Now the great thing about our leather cleaner is that it actually has a super nice high foaming feature, especially when you pair it with our horsehair bristle brush, because those fibers of the brush are really what's going to make the product lather up, and that foam is letting you know that it's extracting all the embedded dirt and grime that's caught within the material. And that's one thing about leather, is that if you don't clean it, oftentimes you're going to get a heavy buildup of body oils, especially when you're in and out of your vehicle, whether it be jean staining, the dirt and grime on your clothes, the skin that makes contact with this, that's all oily and stuff. That's all stuff that's just embedded on there. So now that you've done a little section, I'm going to grab a yellow towel, and then we're simply going to buff off the residue of the cleaner. And I'll show you guys what this has done in just a few seconds after I fully buff it off. So if you guys can see right here, the towel is supposed to be like bright yellow. I don't know if the camera's gonna catch it, but you have a lot of dirt and grime residuals right here. And just imagine the leather is black, so you can't really tell that it's dirty until you actually start cleaning it. So what we're gonna do for the rest of the video is we're gonna continue using this side of the towel. That way you guys can get a better gauge of how much dirt, grime, and body oils are actually on this leather. So right now, I'm gonna show you guys how to clean the actual perforated side. So as you guys saw, we just cleaned this side right here, the little bolster, which actually doesn't have much perforations on it at all. Much perforation. It doesn't have any perforations at all. But now we're gonna show you guys how to clean the perforated area in the middle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spray a little bit more of our leather cleaner onto there. And then the trick here is you don't want to spray directly and you don't want to cause a lot of foam buildup. And what I mean by foam buildup is you don't want to go crazy with the product into the bristles of the brush, because the more product that you spray on there, the more foamy that it's going to get. And the more foam that accumulates is going to be a higher chance of you getting that stuff into the perforations, making it much more difficult for you to actually remove it from there. So you're going to be asking for a lot more work. In this case, we're just making the best of what product we have in the bristles of the brush. And that's why I always recommend saturating the bristles of your brush. That way you don't have any kind of waste of product. You don't go crazy creating a ton of foam. And that way you make the best out of your product and you're fully in control of where it's at all times. So as you guys can see, I'm trying my best here not to create like a super heavy foam, because if I create that heavy foam, it's gonna get caught within the perforations and it's gonna be a little bit more work to remove. So now that I've done that little section, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my towel here. Check that out. Just from that one initial wipe, now we have this heavy dirt line border right here that has accumulated on our towel. And that just goes to show you just how dirty these leather seats are. Even though you may think they're not dirty just because they look dark and they're black, doesn't mean that it's not dirty. So check that out. That's all the stuff that was just on this bottom portion of the seat. And just imagine, this is a passenger seat. Now just imagine just how much more worse the driver's seat is. The one that you sit in every day for hours on end, to work, from work, to the gym, to school, wherever it is that you're going, all that stuff, you're sitting on there, it's just building up. And I want you guys to comment down in the comment section right now when the last time you cleaned your leather was. So as you guys can see, it's not that hard when it comes to your perforated leather. It's just more of a technique that you have to follow in terms of how to minimize the amount of chemical that gets into these perforations. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish cleaning the rest of the leather seat, and then I'm gonna show you guys some tips and tricks on how to condition your perforated leather as well. All right guys, so we just finished cleaning the rest of the leather. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to condition your leather after cleaning it. But what better way to show you guys than to give you guys a nice 50-50. So let me go ahead and mask this off from the top down the middle. And hopefully I cut enough, that way we can also get the bottom piece as well. If not, then I'll just grab another piece. And forgive me if this line is not straight, but I'm doing my best here. Make sure to stick the tape in the crack. That way it doesn't pop out on you. And now we have our leather conditioner and our microfiber applicator. Now, the reason that we're gonna condition the leather is because we basically just stripped off all the oils, including the body oils that are embedded from our own skin and any kind of oils from conditioner that was on there before. So now we're gonna recondition the leather, and it's actually very easy to do so. This right here is our leather conditioner. It's a cream. So all I have to do is simply apply a couple drops. In this case, I'm gonna apply about 4 drops. And then what you wanna do now is you wanna work in the product onto the applicator, as opposed to having like a heavy blotch like that. If you have a big dot of product and you just blot it straight onto the perforated leather, you're gonna get the chemical in that perforation, and that one's gonna be a little bit more difficult to remove because it is a cream, so it's not like it's just gonna evaporate over time. It's actually gonna be something that you wanna have to really get in there and remove. So right now we're just gonna finger the product onto our applicator very thoroughly and just coat all the microfiber We're gonna coat all the microfiber strands very thoroughly and just make sure that all the microfibers are nice and coated, because what we don't want is a heavy concentration of product in one area and not another. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start applying it. So I can actually just start applying it on the perforated side just because there's no heavy concentrations of product on the applicator. We're simply just gonna glide it left and right. In this case, I'm not gonna apply any kind of heavy pressure unless I absolutely have to. So you may see right here, there's a dry patch. This is the conditioner side right here. So in this case, I'm just gonna apply a little bit more pressure just so that we get the product in that little crevice. And we're just gonna apply this very thoroughly. Now, one thing you guys may be noticing right now off the bat is it's shiny. Yes, it is shiny. However, this shine is not actually the level of shine that it will stay at. So you have to keep in mind that whenever you apply the first coat of conditioner, a lot of this stuff, I would say about 70% of this chemical is gonna absorb into the leather, and then it's gonna leave whatever shine left behind. So whatever remaining residue is on the surface, that's the level of shine that you're gonna be left with. And another great way to just kind of tone down the shine, if you're not really a shine person, what you can do is apply the coat of leather conditioner, come back in about 5 minutes after you first apply it, grab a dry microfiber towel and just quickly buff it down to remove any excess sitting on the surface. So I'll go ahead and do the same right now. I'm actually just gonna apply a couple more drops onto my applicator. I'm gonna apply about 3 more drops just so I can coat the top half of the leather sheet. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna work the product into the microfiber strands. And you may notice that I didn't use as much as this little first section here, because once the microfibers get saturated, you're not really having to apply so much of it. You're really only applying maybe about 1 to 2 drops per the next seed that you do, because the strands are already basically coated and saturated. So that stuff is just gonna stretch a very long way. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and coat the top half of the leather. And as you guys can see, it's not very hard at all. This is actually a very easy and awarding process. I really enjoy this because this is basically like the final step when it comes to cleaning and conditioning your leather, because it's just a quick little 2-step combination. You clean the leather, you condition it, boom, you're out of the door, and it's as easy as that. So as you guys can see, it's very quick, very easy. It spreads very nicely. And you guys may be noticing already on the bottom part of the leather where it's already kind of drying up. Well, sorry, I don't want to say drying up, it's more absorbing into the leather itself. And whenever you let that sit, the more you let it sit, the more it's going to absorb into the leather. And like I said, if you're not happy with the level of shine, feel free to go ahead and just give it a one-over with a dry microfiber towel to tone down the shine and to pick up any excess conditioner on the surface. And then feel free to come back and just go over any areas that you may feel like you've missed, such as the crevices. You know, it doesn't hurt to just go back in there twice just to ensure that those are nice and coated. And then once you apply the coat of conditioner, you can actually let it sit or just buff it off right away. In this case, I'm actually gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be right back with you guys to show you guys the final results. All right, so now that it's been about 5 minutes, the leather looks very great. The product looked like it seeped into the leather very thoroughly. However, like I mentioned to you guys, we're still gonna follow it up with just a separate dry microfiber towel to buff off any excess sitting on the surface. And this is a great way to ensure that your leather is fully dry to the touch, because I know myself, I've done this in the past where you get a little bit crazy with the leather conditioner and you love the shine, you get lost in the shine, and you know, that shine level, it's not really an indication of, you know, shine, but it's more so an indication that you just have way too much product on the surface. So now that we've finished giving it a final buff down, now we're gonna remove the tape, and I'll show you guys the final results and what your leather should be looking like. So if you guys come up close, I'll show you guys right here. The left side, yeah, your left side too, we're on the same side. The left, or the bottom side should I say, this is a condition and clean leather. The top is clean but non-conditioned. Now right here, as you guys can see, it has more depth, it has more clarity, it's much more lively, it's much more the color that it is, as opposed to this side, which is dull, it's flat. Now I'm not saying that this is shiny whatsoever, but you can definitely see that there's a lot more depth to this side right here than this side. So I know a lot of you guys out there are under the misconception that, you know, shiny leather is dirty leather, but in this case, it's not really shiny, it's just more so enhancing the depth and just showing you guys a clear indication that this is nice and conditioned without it being super shiny whatsoever. So whenever it comes to conditioner, this is basically what you want to shoot for. You don't want the leather to be all slippery, and as you guys can see, my glove is fully dry. See that? And then if I go to the leather, I'll just rub it all over the place, just have myself a nice little field day. And then I'll pull it off and check out my hand or my glove. There's no oils on there whatsoever. So fully dry to the touch. You're not going to be slipping and sliding out of your seat like a little wet salamander. And this is nice and conditioned and perfect. And now you are ready to go and just have fun. So we're going to go ahead and conclude the video right here. As you guys can see, it's not that hard to keep your leather clean and conditioned, no matter if you have perforated leather or not. It's that easy when you're using the right products from Chemical Guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a huge like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and if you guys want to pick up any of the products that we used in today's video, you can pick them up directly on our website. There's going to be links in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Or if you prefer to pick it up in person, make sure to check out our Detail Garage store locator in the description down below. My name is Joey. This is Chemical Guys Detail Garage. We'll see you guys next time.